Good afternoon, morning, evening, or night, ladies and gents. My name is Alex, and this episode we are talking the House of Wolves, the latest Destiny expansion. And you might remember, you might not, that one of the first videos I made for this channel was a review of the first expansion called The Dark Below. And I think it was widely accepted that The Dark Below was a huge disappointment in terms of things they promised, ideas that you might have about what the DLC should have been, and ultimately only the content didn't really add up to the price and what was packaged in with it. So is the House of Wolves better? Is it worth it? Well, that's what we're here to find out. Let's start with the story content then, because the story of the first DLC, The Dark Below, was only 3 missions or so, very, very weak. Pretty much no plot, no interaction with anything. You had a really boring NPC that you had to talk to, and was really it was like all the voice acting in Destiny was really just monotone, dull, uninteresting. But here, there are 5 or so missions that you get that takes about 3 hours or so on the hardest difficulty to complete. And I have to say, it is a huge, huge improvement. It doesn't live up to anything like some really good original Halo levels or anything like that, but the context, characters, and actual design of the missions is far, far better than anything in the previous DLC, as well as the base game. Luckily, they don't really reuse that many elements. They use like the visual style of elements and bits and bobs here and there to rearrange things, but on most of the missions, they take you to different areas that you've never been before, and especially the one that takes you. There's one mission that takes you to the area of the first raid, which was a really good idea, because that's a really cool looking area, and if you have never played the raid before, this is the way to do it and finally see what it looks like. It is one of the best looking areas in the game. And the actual plot, it's better. I see what they're trying to do here. They purposefully and specifically introduce new characters who do have an actual bit of character to them. Their voices are more bouncy. They have tics and things that they say that are far more interesting. For example, I think most people's favorite character is going to be this alien fallen sort of guy that is on your team for some reason, who often talks to you on the comms, and he's different. He's something interesting and has a decent performance as well, which helps. Something rare in fucking Destiny. So story aside, what are you getting with this damn £19.99 expansion? I didn't realize how expensive they were, because I bought the digital deluxe edition when it first came out, so I never had to worry about it. But I think it works out about £15 when you buy the pass, and about 20 per each one, and changes with dollars. But very expensive DLCs. But then I always have to think about it if you buy COD map packs, if you buy Battlefield map packs, they're very expensive as well, and that's just for maps, and you're not getting anything else extra. And then you have to think about the BioShock Infinite DLCs and your Last of Us DLCs, and how long they are for how much their price. It's a weird grey area for the pricing of DLCs, but I think ultimately I'm not really pissed off about it. I feel like I've got the money's worth at least. So you get the new story missions, 5 or so of those. You get a new strike, you get 3 or 4 new multiplayer maps, and a brand new game mode called the Prison of Elders, which is your typical horde mode and everything. And the reason they put that in there is because, well, as you may or may not know, there's no raid included in this one, and that caused a bit of controversy, because arguably that's the only reason people still play the game, is to do those raids, get the new higher gear, and they get the new level cap and whatnot. But this one doesn't include one, and I think it's because something like 10% of Destiny players have actually finished a raid, so it doesn't make that much sense for them to put so much time into funneling this new one. And I understand why they've made this far more, not casual focused, but easier to access, less intimidating. Anyone can play these story missions, anyone can search online for a game in the Prison of Elders. It's a lot more open to people who maybe are intimidated by the raids for whatever reason. And then of course the thing that's going to keep you coming back is the new gear, the new armor, weapons, the new level cap, and all this and that. And I have to admit, they have patched the game, changed a bunch of the systems, made old things that were redundant have an actual purpose again. They've introduced new currencies that make things more unique. Well, unique's the wrong word, I mean not stupid, like a bunch of the things that in Destiny used to be were. The problem here, though, for me is just detaching myself from someone who has played Destiny a lot and has always stayed at sort of the highest level, so I'm always ready to go into DLC, and I've always sort of been in there. I've had one foot in just my pinky just in the water there, staying constant with the game. I'm not sure if this is enough for someone who hasn't played it, or maybe is thinking about playing it, to entice them to come in and play it now, because if you want a full experience with this game, you're going to have to spend the full, I don't even know what it would be now, about 60 odd pounds or whatever altogether. I mean, it's a lot of money just to get all the stuff there, and then you have to do so much leveling and grinding and everything. I feel like this Bungie are kind of stuck. because they have to feed their player base with new content, but they also have to expand the game, and it's just a difficult issue to address. But overall, what I can tell you is, when I finished the first expansion, The Dark Below, I was just like, okay, whatever, done. What next? But this one, I felt good after finishing it. I was like, yeah, that was satisfying. In terms of the story, that is, that's what I'm talking about. And they actually constantly reward you with things that are worthwhile in terms of game, new guns and money and things, in-game assets. So there is actually a reason to replay it again on other characters and to go back to the missions and things. Like, there's a really good... The first mission was very Halo reminiscent. You get in this new vehicle and you drive around and you fight a tank and stuff, and which is surprising that the original Destiny didn't have that much vehicle combat, despite you having like a little speeder to fling around on. But some nice surprises here and there. But what it is going to come down to is, if you're still playing Destiny before this came out, you're going to get this DLC. You're going to play it no matter what. But for someone that's maybe on the fence, doesn't really know, maybe forgot about Destiny, stopped playing it a few weeks after it was out, abandoned it, it doesn't really make sense to come in now for the DLC unless you're really going to commit, because now you're going to have to play catch-up, you're going to have to level up all over again, you're going to have to probably go and do some raids and stuff to get higher leveled armor, and then you're going to have to start the grind again for a new element that they've introduced that lets you level up all the things, and that is probably the best thing they've added with this update. So you have the option to not buy this DLC, but I'm pretty sure you still get the new level cap. You're at least given the option to still buy new gear at your Vanguard places and still get new guns and things. It's just you can't play the story missions and the new strike and, the actual content you have to download. But the best thing that this game does is that... Not this game, this expansion, is that now finally, there is some gear variation. Previously... the only way to get to the highest level was to have the raid gear, so every single person looked fucking identical, and it was super, super boring. So now what they've done is they've introduced this new currency, which you can level up any piece of purple or higher armor and weaponry, so you can use anything you want, which is a great idea, and makes it really invigorates the game, because now you want to go in and you want to carefully and customize and choose the stats that you want and how you actually want it to look, which was a great addition. Probably the best thing overall in terms of how the whole game is affected, sort of thing going on there. So ultimately, I like where Bungie is going with this one. They've clearly listened to the people. They're clearly trying to put as much bang for your buck in as possible. Obviously they have time constraints. They have all these things going on. They've got planning for Destiny 2 and everything. But I think I am happy with this expansion overall. I was excited for this thing to come out. I was not excited for The Dark Below because there was nothing really about it. It was just, hey, here's a new raid and a mission, go to blah, blah. This one has a bit more character to it. It's shining a light onto what Destiny could possibly be if they listen to people, if they add more content, if they try and fully develop the world. This could actually be a really, really special game that isn't just a skeleton like the original Destiny was. Hopefully Destiny 2 can fix those issues. So now to just wait and see if people are going to stick around, maybe wait. I expect what they're going to do is announce another 2 expansions or so just to keep the player base there for when the next Destiny is announced or when it comes out. So what do you think? Have you played it yourself? Do you want to play it? Is it maybe enticing you to come back? Or do you not care because The Witcher is out? Tell me in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. All comments and ratings are very much appreciated. Make sure you leave suggestions for future Jar Blabs and the like. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Maybe you go in the Fable 3 world.
Fuck going there. It's just a shitter version of Skyrim.
Red Dead would be alright. No.
Red Dead is fucked up.
What about Spartacus Legends?
I'm trying to think of any U-rated sort of universally...
Harvest Moon.
No.
Animal Crossing.
Mortal Kombat.